Hello and welcome to Fireside History. I'm Joe. Today we're going to be seeing about a bit of the setting, mostly the time period that we're kind of examining. I know we have already established it a little, but it'll give greater clarity into this ancient world. Now, there are three stages to the Bronze Age. The first stage is the early Bronze Age, from circa 3000 to 2100 BCE, which is the early period. There is the middle period from 2055 to 1650 BCE. And then there is the later Bronze Age, which is about, in the case of, for example, ancient Egypt, 16th to the 11th century BCE. And this is generally the timeline a lot of historians kind of use, with a few adjustments here and there. And Mesopotamia is generally the focus of Bronze Age studies, as is the case with these episodes. Now, the first real ones to start making headway into the Anatolian region were the Assyrians, who founded the city of Ashur, but they headed northwest. Mostly their merchants did, and they headed northwest primarily. Well, not primarily, but okay, how do I describe it? They headed out in almost every direction, but northwest is where they had a lot of luck in the Middle Bronze Age. They're very active during this time period in international trade and commerce, and their activities in Anatolia are but one example of these ventures. Now, they established a whole series of cities, and the trade route took them all along certain regions, such as the Kizil Irmak River. If I'm not pronouncing that right, well, as you know, I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing it right. So look it up. It'll probably be very different from how I pronounce it. I will work on that. Now that river is near the modern day region of Kayseri, and the city of note there is Kanesh, which is where we get the language Neshite or Neshian or Nesh. And apparently in 1986, more than 11,000 tablets were found in this city, which apparently has multiple layers to the digs. I believe it has approximately 4 major occupation levels. The first 2, 4, and 3 belong to the early Bronze Age. Level 3 was destroyed by fire in the early Bronze Age, the third phase of it. This was followed by the Middle Bronze Age, and apparently the 2 levels 2 and 1 B can be found. Well, they're from that period in history, the Middle Bronze Age period. And Kanesh was a major trade center for the Assyrian merchants and commerce, those involved in the commerce of the region. They'd go there and come back sometimes to Ashur, or go further afield, and this was a good middle place to stop and restock before continuing on. And it was essentially a merchant colony. And there's still a lot of details about about this time period, which is a mystery. And while there are thousands of tablets from all across its history, the worst possible tragedy about this city is that, for example, 1B has yielded no more than 250 tablets or so, which is a tragedy because it'd be great if we can know more about Kanesh and its history and this kind of colonial period for the Assyrian merchants and Middle Eastern merchants of this time period, of whom we know very little compared to later time periods, such as, well, the medieval period. And uh, the period that these merchants belonged to was a very city-state focused time period in terms of social organization. You look at later day classical Greece, and that's not exactly what these cities were like, but it paints a better picture than than feudal periods, or the Romans classical period, or anything today. So I imagine for a lot of people, it's probably hard to put yourself in that mindset of each city being its own country. But that's essentially what city states mean. Now, if you like this episode, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And hopefully next time we'll be finally getting to the founding of Hatusha. And I hope you understand that in order to make our way to that period and better understand it, you need to understand the world in which Hatusha evolved from and grew from. Otherwise, you'll be left in the dark as to, what the human achievements were and just how important Hatusha and the Hittite empire that grew around it are in human history.